What's going on, family? It's Sean. I want to present you all with evidence today of stimulus because we have a slowing global economy. And if you didn't know, now you know. I'm completely unqualified and uninterested in providing you with social, financial, legal, or life advice. Let's get into it. So first, we're going to start with the United States. So COVID happened, governments stimulated, created a lot of money, printed a lot of money, however you want to call it. They gave a lot of money to the states. States didn't really use all of that money. So there's going to be some extra stimulus checks coming out into the United States. Keep in mind, when you give people money, that automatically stimulates demand, but it doesn't create more supply of goods. And we know that we're in a supply crunch. Couple of states that's happening to: Maine, New Mexico, and Alaska. Right. So individuals in Maine and New Mexico could see another check as early as June, thanks to lawmakers in those states successfully passing more economic relief for residents. Also, the Senate approved a spending package including $5,500 for those who are Alaskan residents. In Maine, it's estimated that there's going to be 858,000 people across the state who will receive $850 relief checks to help with alleviating rising prices. So we're going to throw more money at less goods, and at whether that's energy, whether the supply constraints, we're going to throw more money. And when you throw more money at something and it's the same amount of goods, prices rise. But that's what the plan is. It's not only that. So we have Maine, New Mexico as well. Maine, it just tells you that some people may be eligible for up to an additional $1,400 in a tax relief under the homestead exemption program. Actually, that's something you should look into. If you, whatever state you live in, own a property, look into like a homestead exemption act. Those things are usually tax beneficial for people. It's good to go. I met a gentleman most recently who had that, and basically his property, the state considered him growing trees. In New Mexico, there'll be stimulus measures will provide a refundable income tax rebate of $500 for single filers and married individuals filing separately, and $1,000 for joint filers, head of households, and surviving spouses. Single filers will receive equal payments of $250 in June and August, while those who file joint will receive $500 each month. Also, you'll get a refundable tax rebate of $500. These are not signs of a healthy economy. It's going around internationally. So in Italy, there's the prime minister of Italy, Mario Draghi. So this happened at the beginning of May. Italy unveiled a hefty package of measures aimed at shielding firms and families from surging energy costs. They're getting worried. Governments don't have a response like this unless they're thinking out towards the future about instability. The decree approved by the Prime Minister, Mario Draghi's cabinet deploys $14.71 billion of stimulus. And he was quoted as saying that these measures, this stimulus check, these packages, this involvement, he states, today's measures tackle above all the problem of the cost of living, which is hurting most of our citizens. That's throwing more money at the problem. But we're in this situation. The economy's slowing down, so they need to throw money. They need to stimulate demand. We have supply constraints. So just keep this in mind when you see these articles. It's always going on in Bulgaria. We have an article from May 16th that Bulgaria approved a new stimulus package to shield companies from the surge in energy prices bolstered by the war in Ukraine. Do you see the common wording here? We looked at Italy. They're trying to shield the families and the businesses. Bulgaria is shielding the stimulus package. It has to do with energy prices once again. Bulgaria has already taken some steps. So Bulgaria has already frozen regulated electricity prices for households at their levels from last July. So from 2021, July of 2021. And they've been compensating companies for high energy costs since October. The reason that Bulgaria is doing this, they're the European Union's poorest member state. And they were getting 90% of all of their gas from Russia. So Russia stopped sending gas to Bulgaria because Bulgaria refused to pay in rubles. But I'm pretty sure Bulgaria they wouldn't have refused to pay in rubles unless there was some agreement with the European Union to provide them with stimulus and help them out, because, they work together for common goals. Let's go to Africa. Rwanda. The Rwandan private sector is set to receive a $150 million stimulus package from the government aimed at fast-tracking economic recovery in the East African country. This is May 19th. That means there's a slowdown, and they still have to stimulate the economy. This is happening globally. This is interconnected. It says the fund would be dispersed mainly to businesses operating in the manufacturing sector, so exports or refining those raw goods to make things at home. This is to help them boost output, which is growth, GDP, while also helping the country deal with soaring consumer prices and imported inflation. It says the current global inflation is heavily impacting our economy. The government has invested in subsidies and attracted investors in the manufacturing sector to boost local production and to reduce our dependence on imports. You're going to see this as a common theme. The events that have happened over the past 2.5 years are forcing people to internalize. They're forcing them to onshore. They're forcing them to rethink about globalization, change their alliances. You're going to see this more and more and more and more. Lastly, Japan in February had already begun stimulus. Japan has a whole host of problems. They have an aging population. They have a deflationary economy, which means an economy that's trying to retract low growth. So they want to stimulate inflation. But they had already, in February, they had already got rid of a gas tax. Same thing that you had seen with proposals in California and places like that. They also passed a stimulus package. So they had passed a stimulus package of $488 billion to cushion the economic blow of the pandemic. And they said they were going to stimulate January, February, March, but it's not working. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you that it's not working. Look, Japan pumped all that stimulus and their inflation only tops 2%. They're not happy with that because it's not growth. So jump in price growth won't budge Bank of Japan for now, economists say, meaning that they're going to continue to stimulus because they have a slowdown. They already have an aging population. They don't really allow people to immigrate there from other countries. They do bring in workers to help their base, but there's just a refusal there. They want to keep Japan Japanese. I don't believe that's going to work in the future. So all of these that I talked about, these are indicators of a slowdown, of a slowing economy. We have that extra money in the United States. We're just going to throw more fuel onto a fire, right? Those people who live in those states or those local economies, their prices are going to jump more. Maybe more often than other people with the supply constraints. We have Italy, Bulgaria, Rwanda, Japan. We have Europe, Africa, Asia, North America. Keep this stuff in mind. Just want to give you all a quick update. Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all in the next video.